I'm going to be traveling. So I have this at a weird time. I apologize, but I don't want to skip the day because the check-in is so important. Okay. I'm about to go on a little vacation with my family. It's going to feel really nice because I've been really disciplined for the last 6 weeks getting ready for the Pan American Games. I got some updates about that for you all. And talking about some of the things I've seen out there on the interwebs. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so quick updates. Pan American Games. It did not go my way. As you know, last year, I was the, sorry about that. I was the 2025 Masters 3 Pan American champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Competed in that over the weekend in Orlando, Florida. 2026, and this time I'm in the Masters 4. So this year I'm 46 years old. So I went up in an age group. And I felt amazing. I felt strong. As you know, we were retaining our seed for the entire 2026 to be better at combat, and I could feel the energy, the recovery up to training. On the day, I felt super strong. You know, leading up to it, I usually feel a little bit like almost like weak in the legs. Maybe that's because needlessly spilling your seed, but also my diet wasn't usually not good, and my weight loss is not. It's more of like shotgun weight loss plan. But the Rebel Health Alliance, my sponsors, really helped me out, talking to me every day about my nutrition, where I need to be, my water consumption, my low residue diet. That really helped me out to really make sure there was no leftover food in my gut. As you know, in IBJJF, you have to weigh in 20 minutes before your match. So you can't really cut a lot of weight. So you have to be really disciplined. Man, I haven't had a real like full meal for like 2 weeks. And that's kind of good, right? Because the Japanese would say be 80% full and be satisfied with that. And that way you'll never get overweight. Me, I love eating. And of course, you know, losing weight kind of sucks. But I got down to my weight, 177 pounds. With a gi on, I was 180.5. The cutoff is 181.5. So like a professional, I gave next to nothing on that scale. So I felt good going into the matches. My first match, I beat the guy 17-0. Thank you to all my competitors, by the way. Thank you for showing up. Hey, good morning to you as well. Thanks for joining us, even though we're on a weird time. You know, sorry, I'm going to get on a flight, so I want to make sure I get this thing done. But yeah, so first match went really well, 17-0. I was going for the submission towards the last end of the last 20 seconds. Didn't quite get it. Second match, I finished my opponent. Was a good match. Finished him with a Bravo choke with probably about a minute left. And then third match was crazy. So let me tell you, this is the quarterfinals. Now, usually I meet pretty much the same people in the semifinal, quarterfinal rounds, right? We kind of know who the favorites are. We kind of know who competes a lot and does well. And my friend Alex Martins, I always think I'm going to fight him either in the semifinals, which I did last year, or the quarterfinals, which is going to be this year. And I saw that he didn't make it past the eliminatory round. And it was because of this guy I was going up against next. Never seen this guy before. I compete pretty often, so I pretty much know everybody around the circuit. Never seen this guy before. Maybe it's because I went up in an age group, but he was super strong. You know, we were neck and neck in our battle, stand-up battle, going back and forth, trying to take each other down. Nothing scored. I'm playing the boundaries to kind of force him out of bounds. Maybe I'll get a penalty for that. He's really wise and stays, you know, good fight IQ. Last minute, he jumps guard. So now I'm in the guard position. He opens his guard. He gives me the grip that I want, the leg grip. He gives me the lapel grip that I want. Now there's 30 seconds left, and I'm thinking, I don't want to leave it up to the judges because at this point it's going to be a decision. So I sell out. I go full send it. I try to pass. I try to get at least a score or the referee's nod. Man, next thing I know, he slaps on this loop choke. I am waking up facing the ceiling. So looking at the medic, and the medic's like, "Hey man, are you okay?" And I was like, "I was asleep, wasn't I?" He's like, "Yeah, you got put to sleep." So I was like, "Okay." Now I watched the film, and he was choking me for a pretty good 5 seconds. You know, I was probably out way before I passed out, or way before I went limp. But in any case, it was a good, excellent match. I congratulated the guy. I said, "Hey man, you owe me a rematch right afterward," because it was a really well laid trap, you know. And normally, when this is one of the biggest tournaments of the year, there's 5,000 competitors. There's 30 in my division, so you know, very difficult division to win. And it's always like a battle when you get up to the quarterfinals and past and beyond. And I'm not disappointed. You know, I'm not I usually get really upset, sad that I don't win, and that's probably because of my upbringing. That's not a good way to be, and that's definitely not how I advise a lot of my students and my competition training partners, right? Because if you're too heavy on yourself, you don't want to look at the losses. You don't really learn from them. You just feel bad. You let the ego kind of like be like, why did I lose? And that's usually how I feel most of the time. Like, oh, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But this time, I felt really different. You know why? Because I I saw the opportunity and I went for it and I failed. Now, where I usually in the past, in the way past, it took me a long time to get over it. When I don't pull the trigger, when I see an opportunity but I don't seize it because I'm too afraid to fail, and that way, like I just try not to lose. Those matches never turn out well, and because I left something in the gas tank and I didn't let it all out, I feel like disappointed. Not like, oh, why'd you lose, but like, why didn't you try harder? There was more that you could have done, and you didn't do what you had to do. I didn't feel like that this time, but you did. I did get caught, and those things happen. It was a very well laid trap, and so congratulations to my opponent. He ended up making it to the bronze medal, but just barely lost to the champion of last year and the overall world champion the year previous. So kudos to him. Excuse me, and I'm going to learn from it. I'm actually going to steal that loop choke. I've already watched the footage a bunch of times, and we need that for the next fight, which is going to be Kudo. That's going to be the next thing I'm going to do. My first Kudo fight on my birthday is the weigh-in June 12th, and the fight is on the 13th of June. So I have about 10 weeks. I'm going to do a little traveling this week just to blow off some steam, hang out with my family because it's been a very disciplined last 2 months in camp. And then when I get back, we start camp again, really focusing more on striking because 66% of the fight probably will be on the feet, standing up. I haven't had a striking MMA fight for over, wow, almost 10 years now. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to it. Really going to be able to test my skill and bring the judo and the jiu-jitsu that I've been working on for the last 10 years and sharpening and bring it to some sport that we can all tie it together. So I'll be reporting on that. As you know, if you don't know me, my name is Nakapan Pungpon. I'll give you the quick introduction in case no one's been here before. I'm on the quest to become the first Triple Crown world champion. That is a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and Kudo in the over 45 division. I'm documenting all of my experience to share everything with you here today as we chase greatness together. And one of the things, of course, that we're doing here is retaining our seed, and that's why we're doing the check-in. And I'm happy to announce that what day is it? I think I'm past the 90-day mark. I'm almost not even keeping track of the days anymore, and I advise you, just to kind of keep it for not to focus on the days so much because then it gets in your head. 20, 94, almost 101 days. Oh, so we'll call it the 101 day mark. Great. I feel amazing, and during the tournament, I felt I felt unstoppable. I felt that's probably why I had the motivation to really shoot my shot towards the end. Again, it failed, but I felt confident. I felt strong. I felt like I could make micro adjustments during the match. And that was really required during the last match because, it was really a tactical battle and you got to make sure that you see what's going on. Really, when they say human chess for jiu-jitsu, I really felt it that last weekend. So I am a firm believer that retaining your seed is going to save the world and also make you a better fighter. Even though I didn't win, I know that I got a lot of benefit from it. And I can't wait to see in the next 10 weeks where my training takes me and how I feel. And I'm going to be reporting to you on that during my Kudo fight. Interesting things that I've seen on the internet that I want to share with the group. There was an article. I don't even know if it's an article. I think these things are psyops. And you know how I feel living living with a tinfoil hat and trying to make sure that we stay strong and not let they make us weak. Because even though we don't know who they are, they want us to be weak and they want to rule. So we got to be strong. And one of the things that we can do is retain our seed and take the power back. Now, here is the thing that I saw. Interesting article ended up in my Facebook feed. And you know how we've seen like No Nut November and those things. I think those are actually real movements, real phenomena. People talk about them, even though the articles that I see in Facebook and Instagram links, they always try to debunk all those things. They're always like, I would say like, uh, what's the word? We use it I've heard it in the crypto of FUD. They try to give you FUD, right? Like not real news. This is all fake news. Don't listen to this. And I've seen that for No Nut November and No Fap in general and semen retention. They're like, oh, there's no scientific proof of any of this. And you know how I feel about science; it's its own religion right now. Everybody always says like, oh, science. He doesn't believe in science, as a debunk. But what does that even mean? It means you haven't seen it for yourself. You can see it for yourself by simply taking on this practice and doing taking on healthy habits. You're going to see that those things work, right? But don't take my word for it. Do it for yourself. Don't take science words for it, even though it's because science it doesn't have any financial interest to investigate this. And it doesn't have any interest in the world for the people who run the world for you guys to know about this, right? So please, brothers, discover it for yourself. Anyway, I digest. That's a joke. The article that I've seen is called nut maxing. Can you believe that? I've seen looks maxing. And looks maxing, as far as I can understand, the Gen Z, and they said it's a Gen Z phenomenon. Looks maxing is about being like as vain and as attractive as you possibly can be, like making sure you put moisturizer on at night, wearing the right clothes, working out for aesthetic purposes rather than functional purposes, all just designed to kind of like, be as attractive as possible. I think it's a narcissistic culture that we're already in. Social media makes us do that too. It's all about me, 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 right? And that's dangerous. It's really dangerous because it makes you crazy. You don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of narcissists who are just self-interested and only care about themselves rather than like caring about how to make the group better and make us all better. So that's looks maxing. Now, that's not the article that I've seen. I'm just kind of telling you, like, I think it's the maxing part, right? That's the idea. That's the Gen Z lingo. This is nut maxing. It is ejaculating as many times as you possibly can, as voluminous as you can. So basically, you're concerned with the volume of the ejaculate, let's say. And to do this, you need to consume a bunch of different vitamins and minerals. They specifically said zinc and magnesium, which we know in the SR forums, it is highly recommended. And also, I don't take any of those. I take some magnesium for sleep, but you do lose zinc when you expel your seed, right? So that's one thing that does happen. So when you do that, you become weaker. And so therefore, all the article's telling you to do is just weaken yourself, is to needlessly spill your seed. And it's because like, your partner, the woman, she wants you to do that. She wants to see that. Also, you could be spilling your seed needlessly to watching porn, those types of things, when you're trying to do it as many times as you can. As I said in the last video, there was a guy who expelled and spilled his seed 56 times, I think, in one day. And that's like a record. And this guy posted and he's proud of it. And everybody's like, wow, it's just like the gooning Olympics. This should be celebrated, So this person probably is also ascribing to this movement, this nut maxing, which is totally ridiculous. I discovered this as I was, scrolling, which is a terrible thing to do for your mind. Is like I'm, waiting for this tournament, and I'm like, I can't believe I came across this article. I share it with other people too in my group, and they know how I feel about retaining your seed, and so they're like, oh, that sounds ridiculous. Yeah, but let's just even say you're not in the movement of retaining your seed. Is it better for you to just be beating off all day? Like, back in the day when I was growing up, that was like an insult. And now it's almost like you get a medal for it, where it's like, dude, why are you just jerking off all day? Like, what do you do something with your life? I was just actually watching a Renzo Gracie fight. Renzo Gracie, compilation of all of his greatest things he's ever said. And that's one thing he said about his brother, who's like basically almost like a looks maxing playboy guy. He's like, instead of jerking off, you should have been studying. They should have been learning how to fight. And so anyway, again, I look, not to be shameful in there. I came from that, I didn't understand that was making me weak. I did it for, decades of my life. And 8 years ago, I decided not to do it anymore. And it was difficult, but it was also life-changing. And so therefore, again, that's why I'm kind of sharing this experience with the world and chasing this goal. And, I can only imagine there's probably a lot of people that want me to fail because they don't want it to be correct. But again, it's only right for me, right? Like things that I'm doing for myself, and I'm just sharing with the world, not to say that this is the right way or the only way. This is just my way that I'm choosing right now. And, who knows what it's going to be 10, 20 years from now. But hopefully this will stay on the internet, and we can all learn from it. Because I wish somebody told me when I was growing up, when I was a young teenager, or even like in the 20s, like, hey, if you retained your seed and focused your sexual energy on something, that it is very powerful, it is very sacred, it is the essence of your life, and you should not waste it. I think I would be in a lot different spot, or maybe not, because sometimes you have to be someplace to recognize where you are now, right? And so to walk on the light side, you have to know the dark, right? That's kind of like the thing too. So I'm not upset about it. I wouldn't change it. Um, I only think like what it would be like if somebody had told me at that age, but I know now what I know now, and that's why I'm kind of sharing it with you all. Um, and in doing so, you can change your life in a very short period of time. 5 years is what the great Professor John Danaher says. You can reinvent yourself, so you never know where you're going to be 5 years from now. But interestingly enough, though, a lot of people who don't believe in this or have not ascribed to this practice yet, they all just very resistant. And one thing that I would say, one of the books that I read coming up is Think and Grow Rich. Everybody talks about this all the time, especially everybody who's in like how to make more money industry, and how to, like, the people who want to enrich their lives with like material wealth. Now, I believe that there has to be a balance, and I think that money is evil. I think that but we have to play the game, right? We can't turn our back on the world. But in that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, there is a chapter in it called sexual transmutation, and I think that people don't really pay much attention to that. They think that, oh, this is like written 100 years ago. Even there is some controversy as to whether Napoleon Hill actually wrote the book, but the information in that particular chapter, I think people just gloss over a lot. There's the chapter of burning desire and the things that you want, getting a mentor, which is very important, right? There's a lot of these things that all these really wealthy people did to become successful. But one of the things they do talk about, and these are all successful men, is the art of sexual transmutation, which essentially is retaining your seed and channeling that energy towards an endeavor to make your life better. And in this case, they focused it on amassing wealth. So you can do it. You can channel that doing whatever you want. For me, I channel it towards getting better at martial arts, and going towards those goals. Okay, and becoming a better business person, but also becoming a better leader in my community and helping my community. That's really what I'm focused on. So yeah, that's where it's at. And of course, for those of you that want to channel your energy into something, I highly recommend martial arts. It's a transformative vehicle for personal growth. And I don't think, for me at least, I haven't encountered anything like it, because you're learning a physical skill that you can use anywhere in your life that no one can take away from you, right? No one can take that away. And in doing so, you make yourself stronger physically, mentally, spiritually. You find all these different practices. So I highly recommend it for those of you that want to get into martial arts. And, I always include a link in the description below to all my courses online to get involved. They're for beginners, some for advanced. There's also some for advanced students who are already practicing. And of course, if you're in the Washington, D.C. area, come please visit me. We offer a free trial, and I'd love to meet you all one day. Everybody who, I haven't really been able to put a face to the names of all the people that join us for these sessions. So I really do appreciate your time, and you're on this journey with us and sharing your experiences with the world. Also, for those of you that want to help others, please make sure you like, comment this video, share with others who might be able to benefit from the information. But also, like, leaving the information in the comments to kind of help share where you are on the journey does help others, does, spread the word. And this is a difficult path. It's not an easy path, but I know that every man can benefit from it. It's just a matter of how bad you want it and where you want to go in life, and making sure you understand the why you're doing this. Because that way, you'll stay on the track, and you'll be able to resist temptation. And there's going to be plenty of temptation in the world all around. I know myself that there's still many more tests to come, but I am committed to this resolve, and I'm so happy that all of you that are on the live stream and watching the videos, that you're on here with me as well. Okay, so yeah, next tournament is going to be the Kudo North American Championship, my first Kudo fight. I don't have to cut weight for this, thank goodness. I'm going to be fighting at the 260 index against a previous UFC fighter. He's fought almost like, I believe, like a dozen times in the UFC. So he's coming out of retirement to fight me in this businessman class division. So it's going to be a great test. He's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. This guy's no slouch. I'm sure we're going to be good friends before and after. But during the fight, we gotta let those fists fly. We gotta let those throws happen. We gotta let the pins and submissions flow. So it's going to happen, and I'll make sure that I share with you the training regimen and how semen retention is going with this next camp that I will be starting probably in about 2 weeks. And for those of you that want to improve your physical conditioning, your nutrition overall to help your physical conditioning, make sure you check out the link in the description below. Also, I have an AI prompt. As much as I hate AI, and I think it's just going to surveil us in the future, and that's all it's really good for. Because I'll tell you a story that I had to calculate my macros, so that's why I had to tweak the prompt that's in there. You can get it for free to help you kind of lose weight and meet your training goals. Because I asked it to add up my macros, and it said that. Uh, it gave me a number, and I was like, this is wrong. I just did the math in my head. I know it's wrong. And I challenged the AI, and it said, oh, thanks for catching it. You're right. The math was wrong. And I was like, isn't that your job? Anyway, that's to go as far as to say, look, it's not a substitute for you thinking for yourself, but it is, you can use it as a tool. And so for those of you that need to get to change your physical composition and also to supplement your training with good nutrition, check out the link, and I offer you the thing that I use all the time and help me make weight, as well as everybody at the Rebel Health Alliance, my sponsorship, help me out. So check that out. Okay. Nice. Good luck, man. Yeah, you're going to do great. Hey, thank you. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you being on the stream all the time, and especially at this weird time. So thank you. Quick question. How to build stamina for matches? I was gassed way too easily. Well, okay, there's two things about stamina during a match. Okay. One is like efficiency. It's really about how efficient you are. And so therefore you have to remember to breathe. You have to remember not to be too tense. You have to make sure to relax and tense at the right time. Okay. And I think that when you're in a match, particularly, combat sports, you get really excited, the adrenaline flows. And then what happens, like you get very tense, you forget to breathe, and you tire very quickly. And so therefore it's not a really reflection of your stamina more. It's more of a reflection of your inefficiency to use your body in the most economical manner. Okay. Especially if you're, have a 5-minute round or a 3-minute match, like you have to be aware of how long the time is, and when it's time to pull the trigger and redline it, right? Because during the last 10 seconds, if you got something left in your gas tank, you might as well just go. That's not being very efficient. That's probably being more tactical than anything else. But overall, if you're talking about camp and not the actual event itself, you have to build your stamina. You have to build your cardio foundation. And so I highly recommend easiest thing you can do that doesn't cost any money is going out to run and building up your stamina for running, getting in that zone 2 where you can have a conversation, but you're still breathing pretty hard. So you kind of want to be able that zone 2 and be able to sustain that for 20 or 30 minutes at a time. Longest runs I go to for about like 7 miles. I don't recommend it, but anywhere between 3 to 5 in that zone 2 time, zone 2 level will help you build your cardio base, and everything on top of that will be much more, I guess it'd be easier to build on top of a foundation, so to speak. So that's one area. Now, the other thing on top of that, if you're doing combat sports, the unique thing about combat sports is that there is a, ebb and flow, right, in energy. Like in MMA, it's like action, 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 relax, action, 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 relax. We call that like interval training or high intensity interval training. And so therefore you want to train in the manner in which you will be competing. And since that is part of most grappling sports, combat sports, it's important to do functional interval training or high intensity interval training using methods like battle ropes, like kettlebells for time over tension. Those types of things will help you build stamina over time. Now, if you're talking about if you want to turn your physical performance around in 24 hours, that's nutrition. So that's one beautiful thing about it. You don't have to it doesn't take 6 weeks to really feel the effects of good nutrition. That can be done in 24 hours by simply eating 3 healthy meals in a balanced way. Again, if you need help with that, just download my free AI prompt in the description below, and it can give you some different meals and different plans for that. And of course, if you're tracking it, trying to make some type of goal, you just kind of enter and input all of your different meals every single time, and it will just calculate your macros, hopefully correctly, and give you some direction on where to go next. So that's basically like a three-tier plan to help your stamina. One, learn to be more efficient during the competition. That takes more competitions, that takes more training on the mat to make sure that you kind of feel confident with the techniques you're using and use them as efficiently as you can. Step number two, before competition, you want to build your cardio foundation, basically making sure you're working in that zone two. And then the last thing you want to do is basically start to build that high interval training on top of that. And you want it like a Tabata training, and splice that in. One really good tool to kind of accomplish both things is the Aerodyne bike. They get kind of expensive, like 850 bucks, but you might be able to find them at a more like boutique gym that they have it there. That's the bike that's going forward and back and pedaling at the same time. Those will also save your joints for those of you who can't run. I mean, I said I can't run after age of 40, but here I am running like I don't know, 10, 15 miles a week. So you can do that too. I think if you run correctly, get the right proper gear, and make sure you get the right technique. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question. That's a long answer to your quick question, but again, I want to make sure I help everybody as best I can. This just comes from 30 years of martial arts competition experience, but also doing it wrong for many, many years. It was only recently in the last 3 years that I picked up a proper strength conditioning program to help me with my conditioning. Thanks to Nova Barbell and Asim over there, man, they help me out all the time. So that is important. Also, nutrition with my Rebel Health Alliance, the sponsor, always helps me out with that. And they check on me, make sure I make weight, and most importantly, to be strong at the weight that I am at. So yeah, so those are all the tools you can get. Check out in the description link below. And yeah, so thank you very much for jumping on. I'm sorry I had to jump on a little early, but I do have to catch a plane around the same time I usually get on the feed. But I am committed to sharing the discipline. Check in every single week, no matter what, even if I'm flying or doing whatever. I'm going to try to get a way to get it in. Okay, but hopefully next week I'm back on Tuesday. If my plane's not delayed, we'll just do the same time Wednesday at 10 a.m. And I will see you in the next one.